Okay, so the audio part, bringing in audio is exactly the same as video. I found this MP3 lullaby file. I'm just going to drag it into my assets, and it should populate. Maybe it missed. Okay, I guess I had to hover over it a little longer until it brought it in. And you can also, if you don't want to mess with this media browser stuff, you can just say import, and then you'll just have a normal kind of window to navigate through and find your files. So that's maybe an easier way to think about it. This media browser can be really awkward because you have to maybe drag the window to enlarge it, and it's kind of annoying, and then you have to reorganize things. These windows can be I don't really like the interface for Premiere as much as some of the other Adobes, but we'll get back to our project. And with your audio, you just drag it in wherever you want. If I wanted my lullaby to be here instead of Kiki on the stroller, I have the audio associated with the video already. You can just mute that. So
just turn off the layer.
Yeah, or in Premiere it's not. You can't just turn off visibility, but on the video you can. You can turn off visibility so it doesn't view. But here's the mute track button, so you can mute it. And so now I should hear only the. Okay.
So can we spend some time cutting up and splicing and trimming and all that, and
Sure.
manipulating files?
Do you want to start from? I'm going to click back on here, and do you want it to be focused on this top section of the?
How about dead in the middle?
Okay.
And with a square thing in case that's a Instagram video to be.
Sure, we can do Instagram square. So let's change the sequence setting.
I've noticed also Instagram doesn't just do square things anymore.
Yeah, I mean for video you can you're in good shape to do something like this. If you want to just do, you could change things so it just it'll export in a pretty efficient way. Like if you did like standard definition widescreen, which would be 720 by 480, that's a standard. Like this would be a more standard dimension, and it doesn't really matter in this digital culture, but there are certain kind of standards that come out of broadcast television. And
would you go back?
Yeah, I can undo that.
Would you go back to that window where you just changed the thing?
Oh yeah.
So how do we make it a square? Can you go to aspect ratio here where it says vertical 4:3?
I can't do that, but I can change it to. Can I change it to? Yeah, I can change the this to a preset if I wanted to. Now it's already kind of set things to fit the various settings of the file that we dropped in. If I mess around with these presets too much, we could get into a place where a lot of the settings are wrong as they compare to the footage that's in there. So you'll start to get artifacts, or things will look weird and grainy or kind of broken. So I like to just conservatively change based on, and you can look up the settings of your original files and get into that, but I don't think it's really going to pay off your time at the moment. That's more of an in-depth conversation. For the time being, just work on the numbers. You could do, if you wanted it square, you could just do 540 by 540. 540 is a standard standard size of number of pixels. 480 by 720 is a standard dimension. So if you wanted something square, 480 by 480, that's very, very few pixels, but would look just fine on Instagram. So, if you go up to and here's how you see at the 100% size, and you could also, this thing is meaningful as well when you don't have the option of reducing the quality, but this will actually set the playback quality. If you're working with larger files that are heavier on the processor, especially when working with multiple layers of video, as it previews through, it's gonna be best if you allow it to reduce quality when it previews it, so you can see it in real time. But it'll look a little more pixelated when you're previewing it, but when you export it won't. It's cropped a little low on her head. So you might want to actually move that up a little bit. Well, that's looking better now. So you could actually animate the position or change the position at different points. I don't know if you want to get into that. And see, we probably would want to cut the music down because we don't want it's going to export. However, for as long as we have content defined there.
That makes sense. And so how do you stop it right there?
We can stop it right there by just hanging over the edge. And you see how there's that arrow there? You can actually just shorten. This is shortening it down without cropping it. And it'll automatically want to snap or hold on to where the playhead is or where other things end.
Cool.
So you'll feel that kind of resistance when you get to that point. So now everything's going to stop there. And I don't know if you're going to want to remember this, but if I find that at this point it gets a little close to the head, and I want to change the position of the content, the video content within the composition, I could actually go to here, the visual effects, where I've changed the position value, and I can click on the stopwatch next to position. And this is telling me that instead of just having it kind of universal position for the entire extent of the video, the stopwatch clicked on means that I'm going to actually change that over time. So I can take my playhead down here, and at the point where I feel it's cropped to low to her head, I can just change this position a little bit.
How do you actually change it?
Then you just change the value. If you've already hit the stopwatch and you go to a different place in time, you can just change this value to here or something. And do I have to push this? I might have to add the keyframe here. Oh no, I don't have to. Okay, I just changed the value, and it's gonna save it.
What are these numbers? Seconds for the video?
These numbers?
Yeah.
That's the value, like the pixels from the center where it's positioned. So if I go all the way down here, I guess I think this is probably where the top edge of it might be where the anchor point is of the video. I'm not sure exactly where it is, but we've started at a certain point. Let's see. I usually do this kind of stuff in After Effects, so I'm not. Okay, so I have saved to whatever the stopwatch is on, and you change the value, it's going to save that, and by default it will slowly move between one position and the other. It's going to animate that rather than having go from one and then click to the next. If that makes sense.
So how did you decide which seconds in the film?
Just randomly. I just looked at where the camera moved down, so it looked like her head was, like the shot was too tight around her head. I wanted to give her some head space.
So you had your blue cursor set at the time when you hit the stopwatch, and that will change it at that time.
No, okay. So you just turn the stopwatch on, and that means that whenever you adjust the position of this, it will save that position. Okay. So now I could do something like this, like just to show you.
So the whole video is in that position.
No, if the stopwatch is off, your position set up here will remain for the entire extent. When the stopwatch is on, that means it's recording whenever I make a change.
So when did you turn the stopwatch on? At what many seconds?
When I turn the stopwatch on, it means the stopwatch is on for any edits I make in the future. So this effect is recording any changes. Any changes that I to this effect are recorded as different. So watch.
So the stopwatch is just saying, "Look, program, I'm about to make some changes."
Yeah, like the stopwatch is saying, this is going to be an animated effect.
Okay.
So the values were going to change throughout the sequence. So now if I went down here and I really wanted to change it a lot, you're going to see that you see how it's now moving up there over time.
So it knows to do that because you had it at that many seconds when you turn the stopwatch on.
Yes. Yeah. I don't see where it those positions of where I've saved a value should be evident here, and I know I'm not seeing where they are here. I should be able to do like a drop down or something. Whoops. Oh, it shows it here. Sorry, it shows a time in here.
Those little diamonds.
Yeah. So this timeline and this timeline are the same. So it manages my effects right in this section, those diamonds. So I could even kind of go in and, not to get too funky, move these diamonds. I can go in and delete these diamonds. If I said I don't want to animate this effect at all, I can just undo the stopwatch. It'll delete all my keyframes now.
So can we start over? I want to add a stopwatch at 4 seconds,
Okay, so
but not at 4.1 seconds.
okay, so you don't even think that way. The stopwatch just means I'm going to start animating this effect. So I can be anywhere and just turn this on. It's not going to do anything.
So then you press the stopwatch. Then you need to select a time.
Then you'll need to, yeah. So it's already set at this time, still across the entire sequence. Now if I want to make any changes, and by default,
what is this diamond?
Oh, okay. So yeah. So when I turn that's true. When I turn on the stopwatch, it by default it did save a position at the time I was on. So yeah. So usually, so that is saved. This is where it's. You're right.
Can you move that?
Yeah, you can move that. You can do anything with that.
That.
So when I did turn on the stopwatch, it did save my the value of that effect to where I was in time. So that is true. So I just moved that to the beginning.
To where the cursor was when you hit the stopwatch.
Yeah, it just saves it to where the cursor was.
Thank you. So that's way less confusing.
Yeah, I'm sorry if that was confusing. Okay, so now I can go anywhere in my timeline, either here or here, and then just change the position. And then now it's saved another.
And then is there another diamond where you can unchange the position?
Another diamond where I can unchange the position.
Yeah, like if I want it to go in this position to 6 seconds, and then at 6 seconds I want it to go to another position until 8 seconds, then I want it to go to another. So I can create more diamonds.
Yeah, so you can just go. I can just go here, and then I just change the value.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so every time I do that.
Yeah, it'll just every time I change the value, it'll change the position.
That's cool. That's why
it'll save it. Yeah. So you can animate really any kind of effect. You could rotate it. You could there's a lot of audio effects as well. So you can do that all day long. You could zoom if you want to do like a zoom. That's so easy. And I'm pressing the space bar. It should play, but the more you edit it, the more it's gonna have to load into memory before it previews. So this doesn't look very good. But don't be confused, because if you play it through and it's able to all kind of load up into the memory and then start over again from scratch, often it'll catch up and it'll be playing smoothly if you let it play through a couple times. Sometimes you'll have to wait until. Sometimes you'll have to actually export it to see it play at full speed. So maybe what we'll do, like those are some arbitrary settings. I'm just going to turn off the stopwatch on this, go back to square one, and that's not a really good setting. I'm going to go back to the middle. And let's see, where's a zoom? Here's scale. Well, we can treat that as a zoom. So you could also like maybe start here, turn on the stopwatch, and then maybe like a little bit further along, we can zoom in.
Sweet.
So there you have your little zoom. That's probably a really quick zoom. Let's see how that works. So let's see. Why doesn't it let us decrease the value so we can see? Yeah, it's not really showing us. I'll have to remind myself how. Okay, there it is.
That's a great video.
Yeah, so you can play around with that, and let me see a couple things. You should. I don't see why you can't set it. If you decrease the preview value, it'll play through it better, more like 1-to-1 speed. And again, if you wanted to speed it up or slow it down, there's a time remapping already automatically in there. And I think that's it. But what do you say about the preview? Video previews. I don't know why.
This is awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot more. I mean, Premiere is not my program either. I'm much more in After Effects and other programs like Photoshop. But and then you can export it if you want to just see it. Yeah, so play around, and let me close this, and then you can play around.